place primarily was theorized on the basis that so who are drinking coffee and who can
In other
afford.
words, mom, in
Okay.
other words, in your example regarding the Starbucks, where we are going to locate the Starbucks, it is attributed also to the
Actually, we find them everywhere. I'm not sure of today's dynamic. Sino ba yung mga distributors ng
yeah.
mga ganito? But
Excuse me. Pwede ba na,
yes, yes.
let's say, yung katulad dito sa Qatar,
Oh,
Okay,
mayroon
Qatar
tayong
Medical City.
yes.
tapos yung industrial city. So, yun din ang inadapt siguro ni Qatar nung nag-develop sila dito. And
Just a short introduction. Nakita nyo ganyan sa screen ko. I am the current Vice President of the PIEP Qatar chapter and the past Board of Directors in the past administrations by our very energetic and beautiful ENP, our past President, ENP Grace Hermosa Pineda. So kami po yung unang mga officers ng PIEP International international chapter dito sa Qatar. Moving on to our lecturer for our session today. Ma'am Ana Pulido, who has an over 28 years of combined civil engineer experience, including urban and regional planning, environmental management, monitoring and evaluations, and project management experience, and worked with all government levels in the Philippines and the private sector as well. She held for over 16 years a wide range of planning and management roles with government, and in the last 12 years as a private consultant. She carried out more specialized engineering, planning, monitoring and evaluations, M&E, and project management tasks, deepening her expertise in these fields. She is our very own national president of the PIEP Incorporation. She is also the executive director of Leading Engineering and Urban Planning Services and Workpack System Company. Ma'am Ana, she is very friendly, as I experienced during our physical meetup in the national conventions that was held in Bohol last November. He's very friendly, I can say, very intelligent, very resourceful person, very, shall I say, very intellect. He's very intellect person, and then as a professional. And for this time, let's hear Miss Maria Ana M. Pulido for the discussion of the system approach to local development planning. Yes, Ma'am Ann.
Thank you, VP Dennis Mota. I know you're an architect, experienced
Yes,
architect and environmental planner as well. Kahit si Dennis nga, I have kind words for you because on short notice you were able to ano to, I was able to engage you as ano ba to, yung
yes. Oh
panel
my God.
discussion during the
Yeah,
national
that was
convention.
very scary moment for me, ma'am. At bigla ko talaga mag-ano ba, magre-rebuttal ng
Mga experts,
mga
no?
questions and answer portions dun sa
Oo.
national convention
I was
natin.
happy you were able to pull that off. So,
Yes, I was privileged also, ma'am, because habi ko, alam ko gumawa nito, si Ma'am Ana yan.
oo, ganun talaga, ano?
Oh my
It
God.
is our opportunity also to have someone from overseas kasi na ENP. So,
Yes.
that was very rare. And also, I want to thank Grace, Hermosa Pineda for malapit na siyang magbakasyon sa Pilipinas si Grace for inviting me over for the all the officers of Qatar, PIEP Qatar. I'm representing myself for this particular review and not really PIEP, but this is basically the PIEP event of the chapter, right? So yeah, and thank you for your initiative. Yeah, this is actually a review for aspirants for the SPLE, and of course we have also aspirants from Philippines. Magkaiba kasi yung schedule, di ba, ng boards. And then I'm thankful that there are also ENPs here who will help me over later to clarify some matters, especially we will be discussing
Yes po.
theories. Medyo alam mo naman na yung theories,
Theory.
they are
Principles, yeah.
principles, they are group, they are concepts, they are ideas, di ba, that may
Concepts.
not may be relevant before in history, like 1800s, 19th, you know,
Yeah.
but still relevant today, or may not be relevant or partially
Mm.
relevant only. So I would be very happy to share also what I can bring to the table, especially na when we start planning, we're considering also theories as part of our narratives, di ba? So
Exactly, ma'am. Of course,
uh,
that is the basic
the
methods
role,
that
role of
role.
theories.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
it's like a set of vocabulary that you're able to expand your narratives through the theories, and if we can inform our plans and our strategies with theories, it would be the best, yeah, a good, it would be one of the best reports when we're able to incorporate some theories. Dennis, I would like to start with okay, let me share
Yes, ma'am.
the screen. I
Okay po.
started importing from PowerPoint to Canva. So it trying to be con
Oo.
naman,
Mahirap-hirap yan, ma'am, Ginawa ko na
medyo
rin yan, eh.
it's not easy eh.
Mm.
So pero
Yes.
it is a work in progress actually, because
Yeah.
thousands of review materials, and then you try to refresh it by uh looking into how it can look like if we are able to put it on Canva. Nakikita ba ito? So, yan,
Yes, yes
oo,
po.
yung aking favorite cover.
Yes.
Because it's all about the systems,
Ayun.
that should be working. So these are the five theories of spatial equilibrium that are, that comprise the theories of spatial planning. We have five, but not limited to. So we start by refreshing ourselves. What is a spatial planning? You can see below that it is the process of coordinating policies and practices that affect the organization of space. So it's all about how we organize, especially so we have uh, residential, we have commercial, industrial, and many more uses, in a particular city, in a particular region. So it involves the public and private sectors working together. So it's not the sole responsibility of government, primarily because there are many other sectors, working together to plan and to strategize for urban planning and the whole development planning as a whole. And so it involves the public and private sectors, as mentioned earlier, working together to influence the distribution of people and activities in spaces of various scales. So it could be the city level or municipality. There are many, and then madami ding classes yung ating LGUs, like the fifth, sixth, fifth, fourth, until first class, di ba? So, okay, why do we really do spatial planning, and why do we need to learn today? Of course, there are many aspirants over here on Zoom now. But for ENPs also, we need to refresh ourselves on why do we need to do a lot of spatial planning. Can I just yung aking video para lang medyo lumakas.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, just a moment. Okay. Kapag alright, just a moment, ka lang. Kapag ka ba,
Napakagandang
ah,
refresher 'to sa amin, ma'am.
ah, ah, kapag ka ba
Mm.
gaganyan ko, ano yung nakikita nyo? Are you still seeing the Canva?
Yes, ma'am, exactly.
Hindi, kasi I open,
Nakikita namin, yes.
nakikita niya pa rin kasi I need to refer to my PowerPoint on the side. But
Okay.
nakikita niya na yung Canva pa din.
Opo.
So, um, okay. Just a moment. We will be speaking about theories of spatial equilibrium. And then, of course, we have some assumptions. Ano yung first na nakikita mo dyan sa, because I'm not seeing my Canva this time.
Effective land use optimizes the use of land and resources.
Okay. So I'd like to advance to another, ano muna. Okay.
Slide.
Wait lang sa slide. Just a moment, ha?
Yes, ma'am. No.
Okay.
Ang gandang pag-aaralan tong ano spatial planning natin yung mga theories eh. Napakaganda to.
Oo nga. Okay, hindi ko siya makita. Alright. So, alright. Kapag ano, hindi siya nagmo-move. Nagmo-move ba siya? Hindi ano?
Hindi, ma'am. If you want to move, ma'am, just use siguro arrows.
Yung oo nga na. Nagmo-move na siya, no?
Arrows.
Oo. So,
Ayun.
of
Yes
course,
po.
I can pala. Clickable pala yung ano. Of
Opo.
course,
Left and right.
when we optimize the use of land and resources, so it's all about, making land use planning or spatial planning more effective as a tool. And because spatial planning means that we need to promote sustainable development and means that we need to balance environmental, social, economic, and many more biodiversity, urban design, and a lot of factors contributing to sustainable development. We need to manage urbanization to guide urban growth and development in a planned and sustainable manner. One of the challenging aspects of the spatial planning is infra development because it's so large that it encompasses transportation, the utilities, and other public services, especially now that we have not really new concepts like smart growth, smart cities. So these are the things that the it became broader yung infrastructure development natin, and of course technology and communication, the upscaling of all our technology, especially for infra development. So it becomes broader and broader that, more specialized skills are needed. So environmental planners should be specializing and not just concentrating on being a generalist planner. Number 5, of course, we need to protect our natural landscapes, our cultural heritage sites. We have UNESCO also working on and considering also some, like earlier in Bohol, the Bohol landscape or the Bohol Geopark. This is the first ever geopark in the Philippines. So it's one of the strategies to preserve our natural and cultural heritage also. So it's an incentive to be considered as one of the UNESCO's geopark sites. So we also have to incorporate strategies to adapt and mitigate climate change effects. And there are many tools for that. People also are starts appreciating and increasing, their knowledge to specialize on how to mitigate climate change impacts. But ultimately, we need to improve the quality of life by creating vibrant and inclusive communities. So that's part of the efforts toward enhancing the quality of life. Now, we are now on theories. So I just introduced why we need to do spatial planning, but in prior, even before we already start appreciating the role of theories in our planning practice. So we have all this one. Have you recognized when you started reviewing? I'd like to ask later the ENPs here. Did you yung mga naka-experience na mag-exam but hindi they were not able to make it. Did you consider theories as one of the challenges in passing the boards? Kasi ang daming theories, may economic theories, and environmental, social, and then meron pang on top of this there are general theories, right? So okay, just a moment. Kapag when ganyan, lumiliit siya, no? Kapag ganyan, ano? So, I try to, okay. Kaya lang, I need to open again another. Na, nakikita niyo ito, Dennis? Like, lumiliit siya? Or hindi naman?
Ma'am, lumiliit po. Pero I think okay din naman. Readable din naman.
Oo, because
Visible pa rin po.
visible pa rin siya.
Yes po.
Okay. Now, if I open like this, hindi
It's okay lang po, ma'am, if it make you better na makita yung mga
Canva
slides.
pa rin yung Canva pa rin
Yes
yung
po.
nakikita niya, no?
Yes
Okay.
po.
Yes po.
All right. Yung theories of spatial equilibrium, this is a valuable framework kasi. So we need to understand how market economies. I'm talking about parang history and theory ito, not the theories that are exactly applicable, 100% applicable today, but this had over the years, over decades, centuries, it had provided valuable frameworks for understanding how market economies were structured in Europe during the transformative period before or after the Industrial Revolution. And we know that before Industrial Revolution, there were no modern cars or right? So in essence, these theories propose that cities and settlements were organized in a hierarchical system. So we always speak about systems, how you arrange them, settlements, industries. Yeah, we are applying the systems approach in planning in general. So it's not necessarily just local development planning, but in the overall planning, if it's industrial planning, settlements, etc. So it has to be this hierarchical system. It should be spatially balanced. So this means that larger, these theories provides that larger urban centers were balanced by smaller ones and vice versa. So it's a matter of, understanding that not all not all are the same in size, in intensity of the use of land, but larger urban centers balancing the smaller ones and smaller ones balancing the larger urban centers. So the concept of equilibrium here implies that big places such as capital cities or major industrial centers were supported by smaller towns and villages, which in turn benefited from their proximity to larger urban centers. So while you listen to the theories, you try to imagine what are still true today, what are still relevant today. So this symbiotic relationship of supporting each other ensures the efficient allocation of resources, the circulation of goods and services, and the overall functioning of the market economy. So this is the function of the theories of spatial equilibrium. Also, trade networks, transportation routes, and communication channels played crucial roles in connecting cities and settlements across Europe, facilitating the exchange of goods, the movement of people, and the diffusion of ideas. So in summary, the theories of spatial equilibrium offer insights into the complex dynamics of urbanization, economic development, and regional integration in Europe during that time, during the pre- and post-industrial revolution era. So understanding these theories help us appreciate the interconnectedness of cities and settlements, as well as the historical patterns of economic growth today. So, or urban landscape today. Let me see again special equilibrium. So you already know, we are refreshed about equilibrium. Okay. Nag-move ba? No? Nag-move, no? Hindi?
Yes, ma'am. Opo.
Ay,
Page
nag-move.
8
So,
na po.
okay.
Yes
Ay, page
po.
7 yata? Sa page siya. Sorry.
Okay.
Page 7 na na?
7. Yes po. Yes.
And then, it speaks about central places, central places, ano, so I spoke about balance kanina. So this is supposed to be, and it wants to convey what are central places. So how do we call them? How do we call them today? Uh, and so this assumption that there are many assumptions within this theories that it posits the goods and services are distributed in a systematic pattern with a tendency towards centralization. So in other words, certain large centers exert dominance over the distribution network, leading to the concentration of economic activity and resources. So I hope you notice that what these theories are reflecting today. Um, that do you still see somehow large centers dominate, dominate the places where their goods and services are being distributed because they are all coming from the large centers. So centralized distribution reflects the economic principle of agglomeration. If you are familiar with agglomeration, if you've used this before as a concept or, like a principle or lalo na sa economic context, they always economists speak about agglomeration where businesses and industries cluster together to benefit from economies of scale. So these are common principles in economics, the economies of scale, access to markets and specialized labor pools. So these are the different concepts contributing to how why do we call it centralized distribution of goods and services. Central places also and their unique development conditions. The concept of central places refers to key urban or rural centers that serve as focal points for economic activity and resource distribution. So these central places are unique because their development depends on specific conditions of complementarity and balance. So later, we would really find out the role in the different theories, yung five kanina na theories which I mentioned earlier, and how central places are being applied to the different theories, theorized or thought about by the different thinkers, the different different theories, as in RISTs, the people are behind these theories. So complementarity refers to the mutual reliance between central places and their hinterlands. Central places also provide goods and services that fulfill the needs of the surrounding population. So while hinterlands supply resources and markets to sustain economic activity. Please don't situate the theories today first, but you can imagine only. But I am still talking about how it was theorized before, and then we try to inspect later, are they still relevant? Because balance also implies that central places must maintain a harmonious relationship with their hinterlands. So it's still true, right? Especially in regional planning, that we need to ensure sustainable development and economic vitality by providing balance, interdependence also between big places and small places. And these are huge concepts before, still huge today, but we already named them. We already had a branding of all this, especially ang gagaling naman ang galing ng Pilipinas mag-conceptualize NEDA, this would our universities like UP, madami tayong mga tinitheorize na hindi na lang, before they call it big places, central places. Now we have CBD, etc. And we have other concepts that are related, but still they came from baka hindi natin alam na they were called big places and small places before. Parang generic lang yung naming ng mga concepts before. So this assumption highlights the symbiotic relationship again, I want to emphasize that big places such as major cities, what we have today, di ba meron tayong mga metropolitan cities today, meron tayong industrial hubs, and we already have PEZA, di ba? Yung mga EPZA, yung mga ganon. But before, they were called, basta generic lang siya, industrial hubs. And but of course, distribution and how they also depend, the major cities and industrial hubs also depend on small places for resources, ganyan. They cannot be all, the smaller places still would be, providing for resources, labor, markets. So they are still true today. But, conversely, small places benefit also from their proximity to big places, accessing economic opportunities, infrastructure, and services. So this interdependence fosters mutual growth and development across different spatial scales. What else? Let me go back to see this session. Now there are some theories, there are some assumptions. Are they problematic assumptions? But before, especially during the time of von Thunen, he is he was as big as Karl Marx before, but parang mas matanda pa si von Thunen later. Siya na yung susunod na ano natin, but he is as not really associated dahil political ano naman siya, extremism yung kay Karl Marx. But for von Thunen, he was a landowner, economist, agriculturist. So mas matanda siya kay Karl Marx, but he was yung how big he was before, he was as huge as Karl Marx. So ito yung ano natin, before I proceed with him, these were the assumptions, although some people would consider it problematic assumptions, but we need to consider, and we need to take it by heart that before, kasi pre-industrial ito, so space is homogeneous, uniform topography and climate, featureless plain, and fertility of land is constant and uniform. So that's how they theorize their equations. If we consider, kasi ang daming approaches to this mathematically, statistically, but for during this time, yield per unit acre is the same everywhere. So wala pang consideration ng mga transportation, mga ganon. So these were the assumptions, and we need to, in order for us to be able to understand which theories apply today, we need to understand how theories applied before, or how they were able to formulate this one. Ito, space, fertility of land. Lumalabas sa exam din ito yung ano yung mga general assumptions within spatial equilibrium. Kasi none of the above, all of the above, parang ganun. So we need to take this by heart, especially for all the aspirants for 2024 ENP boards. So price P is the same for all producers of a given crop. Market is relatively isolated from other markets. Friction of distance in this particular theory or assumption means that distance is reduced mathematically to transportation cost. Transportation costs are proportional to distance and invariant to direction. Space can be traveled equally and in every direction from the marketplace. So walang consideration of how difficult, halimbawa, if it's Baguio or if it's Tagaytay or if it's something na mga provinces that are not accessible. So walang consideration pa ng ganon during that time. So let's see. Okay, just a moment. I'll try to get into my PowerPoint na ibang kwan. So a homogeneous space means that it suggests that the space under consideration is uniform in terms of topography, climate, resembling a featureless plain, as I mentioned earlier. It also implies that there are no significant geographical variations or obstacles that would affect economic activities or resource distribution. While this assumption simplifies analysis, it may not fully capture the complexities of world landscapes today, where topographical features, climate variations, and natural resources influence economic activities and land use patterns. So yung uniform fertility, yung uniformity, which I mentioned earlier also, it represented but it was represented by the value of soil. It is constant, uniform across the spatial area under considerations. It implies that the yield per unit acre is the same everywhere, regardless of locations, as I mentioned. But in reality, soil fertility varies widely due to factors such as soil composition, moisture levels, and agricultural practices, right? So variations in soil fertility can significantly impact agricultural productivity and land use decisions today. For the one, you might be wondering why price P for producers, that this assumption for a given crop price is the same for all producers within the market. So even if you're big, a big, a big farmer or small time farmer, so that is the same. It suggests that a scenario of perfect competition. So where producers are price takers and face identical market conditions. While perfect competitions is an idealized concept, real-world markets often exhibit variations in prices due to factors such as production costs, market demand, right? So, and market power of buyers and sellers. Today, we get very specialized today, like the brown rice, and the demand is higher in other places. It depends on the culture, indeed, and it depends on how well they are being produced and how the supply behavior in other places. So these are the considerations today. But before, they are all uniform. So the assumption of yung naman relatively isolated market, ano, that I mentioned also doon, the assumption of a relatively isolated market implies that the market under consideration operates independently of other markets. So it suggests limited or minimal trade and economic interactions with external markets. In practice, markets are often interconnected through trade networks, transportation routes, and economic linkages. So the degree of market isolation varies depending on factors such as geographical location, infrastructure, and market integration. So a lot of things to be to consider today. The distance naman, this assumption conceptualizes distance as a form of friction that affects transportation costs and market interactions. Um, so it is mathematically reduced to transportation cost, which is assumed to be proportional to distance and invariant to direction. This implies that the transportation costs increase linearly with distance and remain constant regardless of the directions of travel. Today, hindi na yan applicable because there are many other features of land. There are many features for travel, other considerations that affects, the transportation cost. It's no longer as linear as what this theory suggests. So additionally, space is assumed to be equally traversable in every direction from the marketplace, reflecting the isotropic nature of space and economic models. So these assumptions provide a simplified framework for analyzing special economic phenomena and conducting theoretical analysis. While they facilitate modeling and analysis, it's important to recognize their limitations and consider real-world complexities. And that's why it depends on the equation and which equation to apply, lalo na for economic theories to practical solutions. And meron tayong iba-ibang components or sectors in land use planning, especially in the overall planning provided by HLURB. We called it HLURB guidelines before. Yeah, were also simplified, but of course it will depend on the, you know, the the planner, if he or she can incorporate some complex complex theories or complex equations into his or her practice. Pwedeng it's not limited, no, hindi naman yun yung for example, HLURB, we can always make it more analytical, our plans and strategies, so we can always do that. For Von Tunen, we are now ready to talk about Heinrich von Tunen.
Hello
17.
ma'am, Ana.
Yes.
If you can click po nung expand button dyan sa lower right corner mo po, itong dalawang arrow na naka-diagonal, para ma-expand po yung
Okay.
presentation,
Let me see. Okay.
para
Ito.
medyo
Ito ba?
malaki-laki. Yan.
Kaya lang. Okay. So, can you see,
Alright, good.
he's a German landowner, economist, and agriculturist. So, he's born in Mecklenburg, Germany. Most of our yung mga kwan dito pag-uusapan natin are Germans, and he lived during the late 18th and early 19th. So can you look at his bio sketch? Um, he is renowned for his work in agricultural economics and spatial land use planning. He also authored a book called, so this is one of his work, The Isolated State, which explains now the general assumptions which I mentioned earlier about the different assumptions, which spoke about, or why Johann, his theory had worked before, because they are all based on those assumptions that I have mentioned earlier. So he introduced the concept of the isolated state and laid the groundwork for spatial economics. He also had this concept named after him, the Van Tunen model. So the model illustrates the spatial organization of agricultural land use around a central market, town, or city. He also introduced the idea of concentric rings. So, meron din mga ibang concept, but it's similar. We also call them concentric rings. But within this context, within this model, he conceptualized a concentric ring comprising 5 yata yon. Later papakita ko. But he he described his model like the intensive land use is the most intensive land use is the closest to the market center. So that was his basis, and as you go farther away, and so it becomes less extensive. So he was considered one of the pioneers of location theory and spatial economics. His work provided, I'm just reading here now, his work provided valuable insights into the factors influencing agricultural land use and rural development. Although he lived in the 19th century, von Thunen's theories and models remain relevant in contemporary discussions on land use planning and resource management. Yeah, he pioneered many things on agriculture, but that's what we actually need today, because it is, agricultural lands are getting smaller. So probably we can take lessons from his theory. So we try to explore, okay, this one. Okay, you can see the consented. It is a theoretical framework actually that explains the spatial distribution of agricultural land use. Meron ding mga assumptions on why the model, he theorized this model, that farmers are rational and seek to maximize their profits by minimizing their costs. So parang ang assumption niya is all farmers have the same, the same thinking and the same lahat yung kanilang they are all commercial farmers. Parang ganon yung assumption niya. That the model also assumes that transportation costs increase with distance from the market. So you can see that as you go farther, the less intense the land uses are. The model predicts that agricultural land use will be arranged in concentric rings around the market. Now we have multiple centers already, but before they are considering just one market with the most intensive land use closest to the market and the least intensive land use farthest from the market. So the model has been influential in the development of modern agricultural economics and land use planning. So he developed this before the industrial era. So before the industrial era refers to the historical period preceding the widespread adoption of industrial manufacturing processes and technologies, which began in the late 18th century in Britain, and later spread to other parts of the world. So this period is characterized by agrarian economies, manual labor. Okay, just a moment. Okay, manual labor, limited mechanization, and reliance on traditional production and methods. So this one, feudal systems, etc. Agrarian economies means that societies primarily relied on agriculture as the main source of livelihood and economic activity. So farming and agricultural practices dominated the economy during that time, with the majority of the population engaged in agricultural work. Manual labor, of course, manual labor means that economic activities were predominantly labor intensive, relying on manual labor and handcrafted techniques for production. The machines and mechanized processes were limited before, and production outputs were constrained by the availability of human labor. Cottage industries, of course, before the Industrial Revolution, many goods were produced through cottage industries or small scale workshops located in rural areas. Craftsmen and artisans also typically work from their homes or small workshops, producing goods such as textiles, pottery, and metalwork, and many other, cottage activities within the cottage industries. Limited trade and transportation. So we can imagine before why this model came about is because trade networks were less developed compared to later periods, and transportation of goods diba, during the Industrial Revolution, was it 1900s na yon or 1800 pa din, but during this time that during when this model was theorized, trade networks were less developed compared to later periods, and transportation of goods relied heavily on natural waterways, animals, and human portage. So long distance trade also were challenging and costly, limiting the exchange of goods between regions. So they don't go farther, unlike now that we are now borderless. Even tuna production or tuna exports in Jensen, yeah, it reaches the US everywhere now because it's borderless. But before, exchange of goods is just between regions. So feudal systems naman, in many regions, feudal systems or hierarchical social structures governed land ownership and labor relations. So land was often held by nobility or feudal lords. Alam mo nung araw, mga um, with peasants naman working on the land in exchange for protection and a share of the produce. So that's how feudal systems worked before. Um, Technological innovation was relatively slow compared to later periods, so while some advancement occurred in agriculture, navigation, and craftsmanship, innovation was often incremental and localized. So overall, the period before the industrial era was characterized by agrarian societies and all this I mentioned. Um, so, but Von Thunen also, if Walter Kistoller had central place theory, he also held a theory on central place, but in that in that form of um concentric concentric rings. Yung mga rings na yan, kung bibilangin mo, central Von Thunen proposed a hierarchical system of concentric rings around the central city with different agricultural activities located based on transportation costs and land rent. So, yung, let me see, horticulture and dairying, it is closest to the city for quick transport of uh, perishable goods. So, and that's why it is very close to the center. Uh, this one, in his own version of the central place theory, it was developed in the early 19th century to explain the spatial organization of agricultural activities and land use patterns. So, according to this theory, the arrangement of agricultural activities is determined by transportation costs, land rent, with closer proximity to the central city, leading to higher land rents and lower transportation costs. So dairy, this one, they are typically located so in the first ring, with placement allows for quick transports because they are perishable. So since these goods have a short shelf life and require rapid delivery to consumers, it is economically advantageous to produce them closer to the central market to minimize transportation time and cost. Ito namang forestry, so you can see the ring, forestry after the horticulture and dairying. This ring, which surrounds also the central city, is often dedicated to forested areas used for fuel wood, timber production, because during that time, wood was a vital resource for heating, cooking, and construction during Von Thunen's time. Wood being heavy and cumbersome to transport over long distances is located closer to the city to minimize transportation costs and ensure a steady supply of fuel for urban residents. What's the next one? Grain, ano? Grain and field crops are, um, well, for the crop rotation and then, the grains and field crops, such as wheat, barley, and corn are typically located farther from the central city in that particular ring. Ilan ba itong ring? 1, 2, 3, 4. So these crops are lighter and less perishable compared to dairy and market gardening products. Lower transportation costs for grains allow, because the farther it gets, so the transportation gets lower also. So the cost for this allow for the production to be situated farther from the city center where land rents may be lower, enabling farmers to cultivate larger expanses of land for grain production. Grazing or ranching, the last one, these are, yeah, it involves the raising of livestock such as cattle and sheep are often situated in the outermost ring, farthest from the central city. This is because animals are, it's so funny because animals before they are self-transporting and can be driven to the central city for sale or butchering. Now, you cannot do that anymore, di ba? Yeah, na palalakarin mo sila. They are transported now by transported now by heavy, like mga huge vehicles, mga trucks, di ba? But before maglalakad sila to the market for butchering. So in summary, von Thunen's central place theory, or this concentric ring, um, provides a theoretical framework for understanding the spatial organization of agricultural activities based on transportation costs, land rents, and market proximity. So when you see later questions that point out to this model, just remember that they were spatially organized based on the agricultural activities. The concentric rings illustrate the economic logic behind the allocation of different agricultural land uses within the rural-urban gradient. So, um, what's the legacy? Probably you may ask me now. So how this framework provide us, or how it impacts our urban planning today, our practice of urban planning today? What's the legacy? Well, his insights continue to inform modern economic thought, influencing fields such as urban planning, regional development, and economic history. Von Thunen's work remains a cornerstone of agricultural economics and spatial analysis, offering valuable insights into the complexities of rural landscapes and economic systems. So in conclusion, Von Thunen's contribution to economic geography and agricultural land use planning are profound and enduring, that his model, though developed in a different era, remains relevant in understanding the dynamics of rural economies and land use patterns. As we reflect on his legacy, let us appreciate the timeless wisdom embedded in his analytical approach and continue to apply his insights to address contemporary challenges in economic development and resource management. So now, yeah, I prepared here some Q&A. Like maybe you can ask questions later after this one, but I'd like to show you here ano yung mga later, may mga questions dito, and it's like, because I mentioned about all this assumptions earlier, and then so probably we can answer this. Dennis, would you like to parang ano lang, parang unmute, and then
Yes.
sino yung pwedeng makasagot? Ganon.
All right po. Okay. Let's hear from our participants regarding the exercise questions. Anyone who
Basahin mo
can
nga,
answer
Dennis.
yes,
Basahin mo
number
muna.
one. Yes po. Number one question is, which of the following is not one of the assumptions of von Thunen made when making his model? Letter A, all land has similar site characteristics and is uniform. B, farmers have equal access to the market. C, farmers sell their products on the global market. D, all farmers try to maximize their profits. So, ito po yung mga questions sa number one, and meron tayong mga multiple choices. Anyone from the group? SPLE, my colleagues, classmates, etc., etc. Just wild guess.
Na-mention ko kaya lahat yan, so they can answer readily.
Yeah.
Sige nga. Ikaw nga,
Yes,
Dennis,
can we hear?
sumagot.
Wait, maghanap muna ako ng isa, ma'am. Can we hear
Okay.
from kay Benjilica Papadero? Sir, any wild guess from the question? Or from Ray M. Navarro, sir?
A.
Oh, meron man
May answer
nagsumasagot,
questions.
letter A daw eh.
May
Meron
time
kang
limit kapag
sumasagot.
kakuan, di ba, Dennis?
May time limit pala. Oo nga, 1 minute lang eh. Oo nga, alright. Anyone from the group? Merong letter A sa group chat? Letter A, letter A. Merong B, merong D. And let's hear from our one of my colleague, Sir Francis Dicen, my classmate before. Sir, are you available to answer the question? My wild guess here is letter C.
Di ba, okay, we try to analyze one by one.
Yes.
Did I not say that one of the assumptions within this model is it has all land has similar side
Yeah,
characteristics.
uniform.
May uniformity yan, di ba?
Uniformity, yes. Opo.
So we try to rule out, di ba? Yung A.
Yes. Hey, okay.
How about the second one?
Farmers
pwede
have equal
yan?
access to
Pwede
the
yan?
market. Yeah, yes. If they are going to access to the market, meron ano
Di
sila,
ba? They have
similarities
equal
and
access because they are
equal.
ano
Yes.
eh. Ngayon,
Uniform.
let's rule out letter B. Kunwari hindi natin alam na yung letter C yung answer, no? Just in case, one of the techniques in taking the exam is you skip yung parang hindi mo pa siya ma-figure out. Ubusin mo muna yung pwede mong ano, 'di ba? One of the best is
Isagot?
you cancel, 'di ba? Ano na 'yan? Anong tawag mo doon when you cancel? How do you do that?
Eliminate, ma'am.
Eliminate.
Elimination.
Eliminate. Oo,
Elimination.
kunwari, in-eliminate natin din, eliminate ba natin yung letter D? Kasi, di ba, all farmers, I mentioned earlier, na all farmers, they want to maximize their profits, di ba?
Profit, yes.
During
Because they are selling
tunnel.
goods.
Even if you don't know that the answer is C, by elimination, nasagot mo na. Di ba? Ganon.
Yes.
Do you agree?
Opo.
Also, one of the strategies. So, even
Exactly.
if, kasi sabi dito, farmers sell their products on the global market. Did I not say, if you don't remember what I said, that, the farmers, they sell only between two regions. Di ba? Sinabi ko yon.
And speaking of global market, parang global market is
it's so,
the present time.
Pre-industrial kasi wala pang magandang
exactly,
transportation.
ma'am.
So you can do
Ganun
that.
pag-a-analyze.
Di ba? So even if
Opo.
baka hindi nyo narinig, hindi nyo maalala that I mentioned that it is limited to, dalawang two regions because due to difficulty in transportation. So pag na-eliminate mo na yan, and you can figure out, paspasan nyo yung mag-answer. Yung pag-eliminate, paspasan ninyo. So that, yung natira, huwag nyo nang isipin, just proceed. You can go back, just mark it na lang, di ba? Not time to analyze talaga. And you need to, you need to proceed to the next number kasi baka maubusan kayo ng oras.
Most probably, ang isang question is 1 minute lang eh.
Yeah, kailangan
Ma'am, just to bati, yung ito sa question 1 na to, naalala ko, yung mga hayop dati pinapalakad, sa global hindi mo sila pwedeng palakad.
Ayun.
Oo, exactly. Isa yan sa
Diba,
mga
ma'am?
Kailangan mo na ng airplane
answers.
pagka global that time.
Pwede din gano'n ang style,
Pinapalakad
no?
pa yung kalabaw no?
Vehicles.
Ayun lang.
Thank you,
So,
ma'am.
ma'am, meaning to say, ang answers number 1 is letter C.
Letter C. Okay, we go
Alright,
to number
exactly.
2? Thank you, Ma'am
Okay.
Teresa.
Number 2, blank is the second ring of von Thunen model. Letter A is ranching and livestock. B, the wilderness. C, the forest. D, dairy and market gardening. Anyone from the group? Meron nang nagsagot dito ma'am sa group chat.
Hindi ko ipapakita yung figure. Kasi yung ranching.
D.
Sige nga, magbigay kayo ng rational bawat.
Dito ma'am sa group chat, merong mga sumagot na letter D, letter D, letter D, letter D, letter D. Anyone from the group who can voice out their answers?
Bakit D? Game. Ano
Ako
yung
din ang answer ko eh.
Parang yung strategy ni Ma'am Teresa kanina.
Ako based on the quick sightings of your model kanina, sabi ko parang pagdating ng question parang dairy yung gusto kong isagot eh. Pero pinakita ko sa akong dairy yung pinaka-center. Ay
Ah,
hindi next to
Parang
the center.
simple
Opo.
analysis nung sa second, yung sa Fury niya that time kasi, yung transportation dapat mas malapit ka. Yung dairy kasi mapapanis yan. Aabutin
Mapapanis. That's
makarating.
good.
Eh, yung
oh,
mga forest, yung wilderness, pwede yan eh. Hindi naman napapanis yan. Siguro second, kaya di yung next sa C.
okay. O kaya
By
di rin, kasi perishable, di ba?
Yes,
by
Yes, mas
papanis.
elimin
madali.
Yan.
by
Pag
elimination
sinabing
din, ma'am,
secondary,
wala na atang wilderness eh. So X
yung
na tong D.
wilderness. Ah,
Meaning to
X
say,
na
ma'am,
yung
yung
D.
center is, ano nga po yung center?
Market.
Oo.
Kalimutan ko dun sa,
Market, market where you
market
deliver
siya.
your goods and services, di ba? Uh,
Okay.
So depends on the yung test taking technique
Mm.
ninyo na gagamitin. So I'm hearing
Mm.
very good suggestions na which can which can inform the strategies of our aspirants na they are hearing from
Mm.
us. Ano yung pwedeng strategy on how to answer? Kasi may stress
Yun,
ka.
ang ganda.
You need to make
Mm.
it like magmamarites na lang kayo, di ba? Di ba yung
Mm.
second ganon? Parang make it more relaxed strategy. Hindi yung kwan talaga. Don't make it difficult for you. Use common
Yes.
sense, use stock knowledge, use
Yes. Common sense.
anything na pwede
Mm.
makatulong.
Mm.
Okay, so the answer
Tama
is
po.
let's try to
E.
okay, tingnan natin ulit. O di
Tingnan
ba?
natin. Yes.
Ayun, the
Mark
closest secondary.
Forest. Wow, ang galing.
At saka yung sinabi niya, yung
Oo.
wilderness, correct siya doon kasi yung wilderness is like forestry na yon, di ba? Dinoble lang niya yung forestry.
Oo, yung
So,
forest. Oo.
sa ganung technique, ma'am, dalawa na ang ma-eliminate, yung forest
Oo,
pati
nice.
wilderness
Oh,
kasi identical sila. So 50% na yung probability natin.
very
Dalawa na lang
good.
yung
Oh,
Mm.
yeah, I'm happy na yung duplication also is one strategy. All right? So, yung sinabi din ni Ma'am kanina na kasi it's perishable, yung madaling mapanis or something. So, that's
Mm.
why it's closest to the market.
Dapat mas malapit sa market.
Oo. Eh ngayon, hindi na kasi wala pa namang refrigerator noon. Wala pang freezer noon, wala pang cold storage. Di ba? So, let's see
Yes.
ulit. Can we go here na parang lang, parang sige. Describe two ways, siguro, describe two ways in which Von Tunen model has changed.
first siguro, ma'am, yung accessibility ng market,
Yan.
Yes.
tapos yung
Yeah, exactly.
innovation ng technology in terms of transportation.
Exactly.
Transportation. What else? Ang dami
What
pa,
else?
di ba? So, kapag may kayong pagpipiliin kayo later, titingnan niyo of course, number one is technology sa transportation access, di ba? So, accessibility. And then, ano pa ba? So, you need to, para masagot mo yan, you need to know by heart, what's his model? Ano yung mga variables niya?
Mm.
Di ba? Distance, ano pa ba? Parang ganon. Now, it's so
Mm.
accessible these days, right? So, yung number 4 naman, later na lang yan kasi meron pa tayong i-discuss later on bid rent. But of course, ano naman yung if it has changed over time, ano naman yung number 5 that still is working today? Para mas makilala natin we need to know Von
Si Von
Tunen.
Tunen.
Oo.
One of the characteristics that's still working today from Von Tunen's model.
Especially when you are when you are planning or you are preparing the CLUP for an agricultural town. And this applies, di ba? Ang ganda naman kapag yung plan mo, the Von Tunen model.
Oo nga,
Yeah,
ganda.
actually, yun din, ma'am, yung characterization ng lugar.
Okay.
Halimbawa, alam nga naman maglagay ka ng although accessible siya by now, pero hindi mo
Oo.
pwedeng ilapit sa city yung urban center yung paano mo, yung ranch mo
Oo.
because of the space na kailangan.
Okay.
Is it the transportation system, ma'am, that is still working today?
Ah, yeah, it is yung variable of transportation cost. It's still working. And then kahit
Yeah,
yung kahit yung
exactly.
oo. Yung the property of yung ano ba, yung center ba? If you have the center, of course, ilalapit mo doon yung industry mo. It's more it is attractive to investors pa din, 'di ba? If you are close to the center. Things like that. You can always be creative in your pero depende wala kasi akong nilagay na na pagpipilian. But anyway,
Yeah, that's good, ma'am.
ito naman later hindi na ito just a moment. I-skip ko yan because this is for other. Okay. Now, di ba nakilala na natin si Von Tunen? Do you feel good that nakilala niyo ulit siya, di ba? Kahit 18,
Yes.
ano yung year siya na,
17th to 18th
Oh.
century.
Ilang taon siya na namatay? Di ba? Nasa 70s yata siya. Pakimay. Tingnan nga. Para makilala natin
83?
siya. 1850.
80 plus.
Oh, ang haba, no? Hindi, 67.
83.
Hindi, 67 years old. So, okay,
Okay.
please mute. I can hear some noise, all right? Please mute, ha? Okay. Medyo ako. Hindi kayang makipagsabayan. So, all right. Now we more or less pag
77.
makakuha kayo kahit isang question lang on Von Tunen, masasagot na natin, no? Balik-balik na rin yan.
Oo.
Masasagot na natin. So that's one of the techniques kasi knowing the person, yung history aspect niya, and knowing the theory. And
The
everything else
theory.
everything else will fall into place. You can answer no matter how they ask the question, you can still kahit ba madaming all of the above yan, none of the above, you can still answer. All right? Now we are relaxed about him and we go to a more interesting, mas interesting kasi itong central place.
Crystal.
Sorry, his name is i-ano ko lang,
Okay.
edit.
Walter.
Walter, okay.
Yes.
So his name is Walter Kristoller. Please welcome Walter Kristoller. Can you 76 years old 67. How old is he?
73.
Siya?
73 si Von Tunen. Yes.
Siya si si
Ito
Walter.
is
76
Walter
din
1969 minus
di ba? So,
93.
and please also remember
76 din, ma'am. 76.
basta importante, no, matandaan din nyo yung face nila. You know, like it's
Oo.
need to be familiar sa face nila. Si Von Tunen kanina, anong itsura niya? Kasi German.
Parang
Ay.
Johannesburg. Di ba?
German German siya.
German siya.
German. Si Kwan naman, si Walter Kristoller he's also a German.
German. Galing.
Kaya nga, sabi nila, pinakamaganda daw na genes intellectually are
German.
German. Sabi lang nila. Wala, I don't have evidence. So, he's renowned for his...
Kaya pala, yung lola ko may lahing German. Hindi na.
It's interesting, di ba? So,
Yes.
Walter Kristoller, so marami ng tao noon na pinanganak nito, 'di ba? 1969 nung namatay siya. So, may nakakilala pa sa kanya ng mga senior citizens natin. So, na mga planner, 'di ba? So he's a pioneering German geographer. He's renowned for his central place theory. Favorite question din ito na ibinibigay ng mga
Very familiar yan na question, no?
Oo. Yung central place theory niya, he has a book also, named after the theory, and he published it in 1933. And then he transformed our understanding of cities as dynamic systems. So it's all about the systems, right? Of interwoven networks. He investigated the role of towns as geographic economic units. So, um, di ba meron siyang mga hexagonal ano,
Opo,
and because yun yung measurement niya, economic units niya yun yung measurement niya for distance, etc. So true to true to today, even the GIS, those who are practitioners, GIS practitioners here on Zoom, ginagamit din nila yung hexagon. So he analyzed relationships between towns within the same region. So it means that if there are 10 towns within, or 10 in one province, and then how many provinces in one region. That's why this is very relevant for regional planning. His insights also reshaped traditional hierarchical views of urban landscapes. So he spoke about hierarchy. Si Von Tunen kasi concentric ring yung kanyang hierarchy. But for him, he has another shape. He has another configuration on his insights about his view of urban landscapes. And his legacy continues to inspire all of us and inform our exploration of urban dynamics. So, dapat kilalanin na natin si
Crystal.
Kristaller. Okay. What can you see there? His theory was central place, right? So, okay. He aimed, really, the theory aims to explain the spatial distribution of human settlements and economic activities within a region. And what are the factors in considering central places? We still call it nodes, di ba? Yung mga CBD nodes, it means that these are central places, means these are nodes, these are hubs, these are central places, these are centers of economic activity that provide goods and services to surrounding areas. Then the hierarchy means that central places are organized in a hierarchical order based on their size, range, and threshold. Please note the different keywords. Kasi yan yung tinatanong sa board exam, the keywords. And we can find here range within Cristoller's theory. Ano yung range niya? Kasi meron din tayong separate range and threshold theory. So that's another by Berry later. But Walter Kristoller, he has also another definition. Now, another factor, another concept within central place theory is where are the market areas? Each central place, according to Kristoller, each central place serves as a defined market area. So, it means that unlike Tunen, na isa lang yung market na illustration niya, but him, madami, and sabi niya, it serves as defined market area influenced by factors such as population density and transportation network. So please note the variables also within each theory. So that's one of the strategies that I would like everyone, especially those who are taking the exam, you need to consider ano yung mga variables na ginamit niya. Kasi pwedeng sobra, pwedeng overwhelming, pwedeng kulang. So, kulang means these are the limitations. So, look at the theory. So, what do you see? What are the key? What do you see there? City, you can see also towns. You can also see market town. And they were all expressed in, actually, may mathematical explanation ito but I will not, medyo madugo yun, but of course, we can do that in later, baka kulang yung oras natin. But there's also village for other theories, other books, sinasabi Hamlet. But village means sa atin barangay, di ba? Mga sa atin, today we call them barangays in Philippines. So can you see the dynamics among all this, what you see on Walter Kristoller's Central Place? We need to uncover really the pioneering work of Walter Kristoller. What did he contribute to urban planning? Well, he is a geographer. Ano pa, he he tried to, one of the many aims here is for us to understand the intricacies of Kristoller's central place theory and its profound impact on urban planning, economic geography, and regional development. So his theory contributed to what? To urban planning, to economic geography, and regional development. Kaya wag niyo siyang kakalimutan that Kristoller is a geographer. Well, he is German, and then yeah, it revolves around the idea that cities and towns serve as central hubs. So that offers goods and services. So it's still an economic theory to surrounding areas. And he proposed a hierarchical system. So it's still a system of central places organized based on the range and threshold of goods and services they provide. So malalaman na natin what are these things, range and threshold of goods and services they provide. Well, it forms these are hexagonal patterns, means that 6 sides. Because he envisioned a hexagonal pattern of central places to minimize overlaps and maximize efficiency in the distribution of goods and services. So where do you apply this pattern of central places? You can apply that for urban and regional planning. That central place theory guides decisions on land use, infrastructure development, and service provision. Please don't forget that it is also used. We can also use central place theory or CPT in analyzing, retail location, to analyze consumer demand.
Commercial.
Okay, yeah. And where do you see the consumers? Saan ba sila nakalocate, 'di ba? So, and strategically position their stores. Like, saan mo ilolocate si Starbucks, McDonald's, and even banks, 'di ba? Saan mo ilolocate yan? Would you locate
Sa
them to areas na? Kaya, we always consider what? Market areas, 'di ba? People. And that's why, population density and transportation networks are indeed variables to central place theory. So it is a seminal concept in urban and regional geography that seeks to explain the spatial organization of human settlements and economic activities within a geographical area. This was developed in the early 20th century. That Kristoller's theory provides insights into the distribution of central places, their functions, and the relationships within a hierarchical system. Please don't forget that this theory is providing insights to the how we distribute central place, meaning the hubs, the CBDs today's time. Where do you locate these hubs, these central place, and what are their functions? Makakapareho ba? Or does it follow a hierarchy? And how do they relate to each other? One is consumer, one is supplier, and what else? Ano pa
Yes.
yung role nila, di ba? And how do they interact with each other? So that's how Walter Kristoller thought about central place theory. That at the core of central place theory is the concept of central places, which are again settlements that provide goods and services to surrounding areas. That these central places are organized in hierarchical order based on what? May basis siya. How did he propose to organize? Based on size, again, based on size, based on range and based on threshold. So, Christoller proposed a systematic arrangement of central places ranging from smaller, lower order settlements to larger, higher order ones. So, ano mo yan? Halimbawa, Louis Vuitton or Hermes, or where do you locate them? Or would you locate them to yung mga ano na less dense population areas or wealthy population? How would you be able to determine the different, demographics that would support the different economic activities? So, okay, just a moment. Dapat may question na ito, no? So,
In other words, ma'am,
okay.
in other words, in your example regarding the Starbucks, where we are going to locate the Starbucks, it is
Mhm.
attributed also to the location of the suppliers of the coffee, suppliers of
Yes.
the plastic bags that were used
Uh-huh.
to make for the I don't know to the plastic bags that used to pack the Starbucks coffee.
Yeah, the
Is it
different
like that, ma'am?
um actually, we find them everywhere. I'm not sure of today's dynamics, ano. Sino ba yung mga distributors ng mga ganito?
Yeah.
But Central Place primarily was theorized on the basis that so who are drinking coffee and who can afford? And and that's why the coffee, okay, transportation had been we had modernized them over
Greatest
time.
factors.
But during this time,
Ma'am, excuse me. Pwede
yes,
ba na,
yes,
let's say, yung katulad dito sa Qatar,
okay,
mayroon
Qatar.
tayong tinatawag na industrial area dito ngayon, which is, ito yung hub ng mga uh, garage na nagre-repair ng mga sasakyan, at iba't ibang mga kwan. So, ang
Machineries.
ang market ng mga parts is within also the area. Parang
Oh,
ganun din siya na ibig sabihin
yeah,
kung ilalapit mo yung center ng kung anong klaseng center yan doon
okay,
sa consumer pati doon sa supplier, parang
supplier.
ganun ang theory niya.
Oo.
Hindi
So
ko
that would be the most strategic ano niya. Pero um it depends on the availability of land, 'di ba? For example, if you cannot find like win-win, you win for the supplier as side and you win also for the um consumer side. Uh Supplier would be difficult. Like for example, the Starbucks case, it's coffee, 'di ba? So where are they located yung mga coffee? Pwedeng gawin mo din na may plantation ka din very close, like uh farm to table concept, right? So many things will run in your mind, in your thoughts when you are ang ganda ng ganito na style natin because we're able to consider other factors that were not thought of before because there are no economic zones before. Now, Qatar is somewhat uh, ilang times ang development advantage over Philippines, 'di ba? Qatar is somewhat na konti yung tao but the population is not dense but mas mayaman.
Yes,
Ang daming
exactly.
consideration pag Qatar, 'di ba?
Qatar, ma'am, yes. Qatar in a general perspective, Qatar is from my own experience and my based on what I see, Qatar is generalized parang yung land use planning niya. On this side, we can locate the industrial sector, industrial areas. On the other side, we will locate they will locate the residential. On the other side is commercial. Ganun po yung atake ng
Oo.
Qatar development plan nila eh.
Oo. Oo. And making sure that they have they have threshold of population to support the business, no? And
Yes,
how
that's why
paano mo mapadami?
yes, ma'am. That's why in industrial areas, which is the remote area in Qatar, they are locating small offices, suppliers,
Mm.
and yeah, ganon sila naglalagay sila doon ng mga
And what's their what's the strategy? Is it policy based or is it ano yung theory na pwede nating i-apply naman sa Qatar? 'Di ba?
Ay,
Siyempre, this is not just for Philippines kasi this is international theory. Do you think there are some variables here that could be applied to Qatar, itong central place theory?
maybe with the policy.
Ma'am, siguro dito sa Qatar, yung
Mhm.
yung theory ni Christoller, bukod siguro dahil yung Qatar bago lang talaga sila nag-develop. So, na-master plan na nila, nauna na yung Dubai eh. So, sa Dubai,
Mm.
nag-start sila, I think si Palafox is part of the urban planners nung sa
Ay.
Dubai. Nung ginawa nila yon, natuto na sila na dapat may isang place na parang education city, medical city, tapos
Yes.
yung industrial city. So, yun din ang inadapt siguro ni Qatar nung nagde-develop sila dito. And itong si kay Walter Christoller, nagdidepende talaga dun sa ito parang, as I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, na kay Walter Christoller, it's more of you think of the target market mo. Kasi
Mm.
sa dami niyang location, you can put parang city dito or market dito, ito yung central
Mm.
market dito because it would depend on the market, yung target market mo. Like,
Ah.
siguro kung meron kang Starbucks na itatayo, mas malapit siya sa school kasi yung mga estudyante, yung mag-aaral, di ba, magpupuyat, di ba, ganun. Or
Ah.
malapit sa isang offices kung
Oo.
saan mag-meeting, pwede
Yeah.
doon, o, di ba? Yung mga ganun na,
Oo. Or corporations or offices,
yes, 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 yes.
or
Yun
offices.
lang, ma'am, yun lang yung intindi ko
Oo,
dito.
thank you. Maganda, 'di
Additional
ba?
lang, ma'am.
That is just the case
Ah,
of Starbucks. Yes, sir. Okay.
at dito sa principle, yung sa theory na 'to, yung parang centralization of services. Let's say ito, yun nga yung as sinabi ni ma'am, yung halimbawa ito, education center 'to. Ito, industrial center, parang ganun yung concept dito na
Mm.
applicable yung centralization. Depende kung anong pwede mong ilalagay. Kaya nga yun nga, sabi nila sa Qatar medyo precise yung mga planning nila dito pagdating sa
Oo. Oo.
urban planning.
Because hindi naman nagba-budget ang Qatar because it's a rich country, no? Unlike sa atin na we need to
Yes, yes,
take a
ma'am.
loan. Maglo-loan tayo para
Mm.
mag-develop or PPP. Meron bang ganun ang Qatar? Wala eh. Parang
Wala.
you have so much money ang
They
government.
can do what they want, but as per the principles of planning.
Yeah, okay. It's very interesting. So, situating the theory in Qatar is really far from situating the theory in Philippines, But hindi naman ito para sa Pilipinas, but US, depende. Walter Kistoller is a German and he practiced in the US or other more developed locations. So, analyzing this one, especially in Qatar, magdedepend pa rin sa pera, no? But of course, planners should be guiding development and investments. Kaya, if we make our community, our professional community as strong, especially as strong as we can, then probably, yeah, local chief executives, yung mga we can be influencers in our own right because we we were able to apply theories, so that this is one of the many ways that we can strengthen our professional community by providing them enough theory and reliable theories that may be true today, may still be relevant today. And I would be very glad that sana instead na ito na yung parang natin, will the Marites culture of that we keep talking about theories, and it will strengthen indeed our future concepts, our future strategies and plans. So, yeah, and that Christoller, meron siyang notion on range and threshold, which delineate the service area. So we need to let our aspirants really learn about what are this threshold, what is this range that we are talking, that the range represents the maximum distance consumers are willing to travel. Okay, now we are putting people as variable the dense population that supports the businesses. So how much people or consumers are willing to travel to obtain a particular good or services. While the threshold denotes the minimum population required to support the provision of that good and services. We cannot put out like laundry or dry cleaning in a place where people will not, will not need them. And then we cannot also put other businesses, and that's why the notion of um range and threshold. So I repeat, threshold is the minimum population that are needed to support the provision of that good and services, meaning the demand. The demand is being created by the threshold. Threshold means the population. While that range is the maximum distance, how much you want to travel to go to Starbucks, or how much you want to travel to eat something like ano na yon, Viking or something na wala sa area mo, but you need to travel like an hour. Do you need to do that, or you want to get some branded materials or branded products, Lacoste or Hermes, and you need to travel 2 hours to do that. So what are these factors that have been discussed within the central place theory? So I need to shift to the PowerPoint kasi hindi ko siya natapos. Para ipakita ko yung crystallers. So please excuse me. I need to
All right. Yes, ma'am.
stop share, and then I go to para maipakita ko yung kasi pag hindi makita ng mga aspirants natin yung range and threshold, it will not be complete. Like,
Parang walang connections.
kailangan makita din nila. Sa moment ulit. But do you think it's interesting to incorporate our theories into our
Right. Planning.